It's 4 p.m.
We're going to talk a lot about that today.
To the Valley Radio broadcast, the only radio talk show dedicated totally to the civil rights movement, past and present. Now, here are your hosts, Lady B.J. Love King and Sapphira Shuttlesworth.
Well, good evening to all of our listeners. We are so happy you could join us today. Once again, we are here, you are there. This is From the Mountain to the Valley Civil Rights Radio. Your dial is on WJLD 1400 on the AM dial. And those of you that wish to log on, that's WJLD1400.com. You can call your friends, call your neighbors, and let them know that Civil Rights Radio is alive and well and on the air. And once again, as you know from this radio broadcast series, we made a clarion call for the children of the Civil Rights Movement. We call for them to come forward and to bring their children and their grandchildren and maybe in some cases their great-grandchildren. And we are happy to report today that we did have that. We are happy here once again to be joined by our co-producer, none other than Mrs. Sapphira Shuttlesworth. And we're also happy to have once again in the booth none other than Miss Taomi Ray coming to us out of the Gaston, Alabama area, where we know is a lot of civil rights history. As a matter of fact, this past Monday at Supper for the Foot Soldiers, we had the privilege, I should say, of hearing from a bona fide foot soldier who happened to be Taomi's father, and that's Brother Bobby Johnson, fellow foot soldier out there. Good evening to you, Brother Johnson. Good evening to you out there and all of our listeners in Gaston. And we just want to thank you once again for stepping forward and giving your story. What a time we had downtown this past Monday. I tell you, we were moved by the heartfelt information that a bona fide child of the civil rights movement stood and gave his account of those things that happened nearly 50 years ago in one of the most volatile cities here in Alabama, and of course that was Gaston. And he shared his story, and how fortunate, because sitting there to hear this great history was his children and his grandchildren, and how privileged we all were to hear that great information. Just gonna welcome Sapphira in the booth this evening. How are you?
I'm doing well, Lady BJ. Hello, and hello to all of our listeners, our friends here in Birmingham and around the nation. It has been another extraordinary week, and I look forward to our conversation, our time together here this afternoon. We want you to move near to your telephone because, as Lady BJ said, we sent out a clarion call on January 1, but we extend that call again and again. And today, I would like to hear from some people who were actually in Washington in August of 1963, was it?
1963.
All right. I'd love to hear from some people who were there. I know that my husband and his family at that time were there, and I used to ask him, I've asked him several times, when I see the footage from that famous I Have a Dream speech, I ask him, honey, where were you? Because I don't see him in the frame around Dr. King, which is where I